So the most terrifying thing about the Sallie House is that nobody really knows if it's being haunted by a ghost or a demon. The Sallie House, located in Atchison, Kansas, has a lengthy history of just terrifying owners, and has also been the source of 2 separate BuzzFeed Unsolveds. And I really think that we should all go there ourselves. But first, let's get into the backstory. The Sallie House was built between 1867 and 1871. It was built for Michael C. Finney and his family. This included his wife Kate and his 3 kids, James, Agnes, and Charles. And altogether, they lived in the basement while this was being built. But in the year 1872, Michael ended up passing away in the home. And years later, in 1906, his daughter Agnes moved back into the home. She got married to an engineer named William True, and in 1913, he also passed away in the home. Agnes passed away next in 1939. After this, several families moved in and out of the residence, and there wasn't a whole lot of incidents. But this all changed on December 31st of 1992 when the Pickmans moved in. Tony and Deborah Pickman, who were a newlywed couple and expecting their first child, had no idea what. So when Tony and Deborah Pickman were moving into the new house, their dog, who was normally very calm, would start to freak out a lot. And to give a little bit of timeline, about January through June of 1993, they would experience things such as lights flickering, cold spots around the home, landline calls dropped, pretty typical haunting stuff. But this honestly seems just common for a home built in the 1800s. Tony had even joked about there being a ghost. Well, in June of 1993, their baby arrived. And this is when things went from a little spooky to terrifying. Electronic toys would turn on and off, the wind-up mobile above his crib would just randomly go off, and he would wake up almost every hour of the night. Deborah describing it as if someone was wanting to play with him. A neighbor actually ended up coming to them and asking them why they left their nursery light on throughout the night, when in reality their son had just been sleeping in their bedroom, so they weren't even in there turning on the light. Deborah's sister ended up coming into town to help with the baby, and she asked why all the baby's toys were on the floor arranged in a circle with backs facing.
I secretly hate my husband, but I can't leave him. Disclaimers in on my Storytime listed me on Instagram. My husband and I have only been married for 2 months. We dated on and off for almost 7 years. So when he finally proposed, I was actually really happy. The problem is that we never lived together before we got married. He never wanted to move in with me when we were dating. He also had this thing where he wouldn't want me to come to his apartment randomly. He would always schedule times where I could hang out with him at his apartment. This all seems suspicious, but I really wanted to marry him, so I just decided to overlook those things. But now that we're married, I see why he didn't want me to come over and why he had all these strange rules. It turns out that he's incredibly messy, lazy, and is super picky about the food he eats. So now that I'm his wife, I'm constantly having to clean up after him. Every single time he goes to the toilet, he always leaves skid marks, or for some reason, he always has like explosive poop and it goes everywhere on the bowl. So every single time I go to the bathroom after he does, I'm always having to clean it up. And it makes me so angry that I have to clean up after him that I have begun to hate him. Also, he's super picky about his food. We can never go to restaurants because he never wants anything on the menu. And if we ever do go to a restaurant, we have to go wherever he wants. I love all types of cuisine, especially Indian, Mediterranean, Japanese, but he thinks it's gross. He comes from a very American family. He grew up eating chicken nuggets and grilled cheeses. To him, anything with some spice is way too much. That means I can't cook what I want because he always complains about the smell. Thankfully, he's got an office that's 30 minutes away. So when he leaves, that's when I cook. But I have to make sure to air out the apartment before he gets home. I'm always doing his laundry and cleaning up after him. Every single time he shaves, he leaves hair everywhere. I actually hate this man now. I told him that I don't want to live with him anymore, but he freaked out. He's begging for me to stay, but I'm so unhappy. What should I do? Here's a story time about when I broke off my 1.5-year engagement with my ex-fiance. We met on a movie set. He was playing my boyfriend, and within a week, we were already calling each other boyfriend and girlfriend. 2 months into the relationship, he convinced me to move to LA with him because we both wanted to pursue acting seriously, and he was an established model already. He had worked in Tokyo and Paris as a model. Of course, I was so in love. I said yes, and I left my family, which was really heartbreaking for them. I will totally always regret that decision because I left way too soon. I was so young. We struggled for money in LA, but I decided to get a serving job, so I was making more money than he was because he was working at a movie theater making $8 an hour. Because of this, I had to pay for a lot of the bills, and I even started helping him pay off his school loans. We also shared a banking account, which was terrible because I was putting in way more money than he was. I hated the apartment we lived in because I would wake up with roaches in my hair, so I decided to get a second serving job. When I asked him to get a second job as well, he said no because he was very happy at his job. Part 2 is up. Part 2. So I asked my fiance if he could get a second job to help me out with the bills, and he said no. I would tell my mom and sisters about the situation, and they would tell me that he should definitely be helping me out more, and I just would make up excuses for him, and I just thought it's okay, he can work at the movie theater, and I will work my 2 jobs. At this point, I was paying for most of the rent, most of the bills, and his student school loans. I owed $20,000, you guys, and I was paying for all of that. I even got a 3rd job because I wanted to save up to move out of that crappy apartment. Finally, I got hired at the strip club as a cocktail waitress, and I was able to quit all of my other jobs. My ex-fiance was definitely happy with the amount of money I was making at the strip club. Of course, he felt absolutely no pressure to get a new job and help me out. I finally put my foot down and told him we were moving to a better apartment because I was not happy in the apartment we were in. I told him he had no right to say no because I was the one paying for everything. We found the perfect apartment and I loved it. It was absolutely beautiful and I felt so at home there. Then one night, I was sexually assaulted at the strip club. Of course, I was really affected by it. At first, he was supportive, but after a few days, he basically told me to get over it. 3. When he told me to just get over the sexual assault that I experienced at the strip club, I was shocked. I couldn't believe that the man I was about to marry would be so insensitive. And then I just started realizing, wait, I am paying for everything. I pay for your bills, I pay for your rent, I pay for your student loans, and you're here telling me to just get over this sexual assault. It was like someone had put a mirror to my face and was showing me the truth. The final straw was when I told him I wanted to quit the strip club because I didn't want to be in that environment and I didn't want to see the man that had sexually assaulted me again. He said, absolutely not, you can't quit, the money is too good. And that's when I broke up with him. I told him that I couldn't be with someone who didn't care enough about me and only really cared about the money and to be kept. He was so comfortable with me paying for everything and him just chilling at a job where he got paid $8 an hour while I was busting my butt every single night. He told me I would never find anyone better than him. The breakup was amicable, thank God. He didn't stress me out or anything. He kind of said, you know, you'll be back. Of course I never went back. Know your worth and be with someone who actually cares about you.